Hey,
Hi, Anthony.
Kristen.
You want to start, Anthony, and introduce yourself while we're waiting for everybody to join in?
Sure. So my name's Anthony. I'm owner of Ruby's Healing Crystals. That's where I'm at right now at our shop. We have a beautiful crystal shop in Boca Raton with anything crystal related you may need, jewelry, pendants, carving, anything. I have giant pieces, museum grade, rare collectibles and whatnot. I just took ownership of this business about 4 months ago. Ruby had just retired. And so now I'm diving into things besides crystals. So, we're doing our book signing. I'm looking into healers and different people to come to the shop and provide their services and just kind of navigating that new realm of business and seeing what it's bringing. And so far, it's been very fruitful, I would say.
Yes, yes. It is such an honor to join you tonight and to join you in our endeavor as we go forward. I'm looking really forward to everything we're going to be doing in the near future. I'm Kristen Bomas, joining Anthony on his live today. I recently have a book I've published called The Journey of a Sage, which for those of you who joined right away, we've got it showing in the background of both pictures. And I am a life mastery coach trained as a psychologist, and I have online courses that you can purchase on my website, as well as another book that's out on Amazon. So you can enjoy what I have to offer. Hopefully you'll enjoy the teachings. So that's about all for me today. I'm looking forward to this conversation as we open up a conversation about the fall equinox, and we're also coming up on a new moon. So, but definitely this fall equinox is a wonderful time. So what are your thoughts, Anthony? I'm going to follow suit here.
Well, I love the word equinox. One, because it's just funny. My father has had a Chevy Equinox now for that word has been in my life, and I've been using that word for a long time. Honestly, I go by every day the way that I feel energy wise.
Yes.
And lately, and I'm getting chills just talking about it. Like lately, I would say the past week or two, I've been feeling very refreshed, but also I've been feeling a bit bogged down, I'd say. And it's a combination of both, and it changes every day. But I think it goes into what we were just discussing about the fall equinox, how we're kind of like in an area right now where we're seeing how our goals at the beginning of the year are manifesting. We're also feeling that heaviness of things that are not working out and having to release those. So I think we should bridge into what you said about your fire ritual. I think that's a great way to encompass what I'm
right. So we talked about, so we're at the fall equinox, and so the summer solstice and the winter solstice are also critical points. And right now we're right in the middle, right, where we have equal light to dark. And so there's that balance, right? But we truly find balance in the light, right? And so the dark gives us time to rehash, to heal, to move beyond that which is more dense, and to move us further into the light. So right now we're right at that in between. And it's time for a ceremony to honor where we're at. We're halfway into the manifestations we set in motion at the summer solstice, as we move up to the winter solstice, which is my favorite time of the holidays because it's a time of release. And so we're going to pull those two pieces together and think about, as Anthony and I were talking about the leaves that are falling, and yet the farmers are harvesting. So, let's talk a little bit about that, Anthony, if you can kind of share your ideas. And then, let's talk about our rituals and why each of us do what we do to honor this equinox, this time of the Earth's movement and adjustments, and how we use it to our favor.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, I'm feeling refreshed, and I'm also feeling bogged down, and that I'm in need of finding balance right now, I believe. So, I mean, for me personally, like I was telling you earlier, we cleanse in here on a regular basis. I have anywhere from, 5 to 10 different groups of people walking in here every day, a lot of different energy mingling. So, I know this is a time to cleanse, but since we are cleansing in here every day, it's going to kind of be the same routine. At home, around this time is when when my girlfriend and I pull out
The Florida water, yeah.
the Florida water, which is one of my favorite things to use around this time to cleanse and attract. It also smells great, which is just a little side note. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting it into words the way it's been feeling lately, and I'm glad we're connecting now, because I kind of want to look to you and kind of ask for your guidance on what you think, what path I can take during this time to sort of even myself out and even out my energies and kind of be on a one track right now.
It's interesting because at this time, as I do each of the 4 main points in the year, I'll do a fire. And I open up sacred space in the 4 directions in my home and on my property on a very regular basis. I don't know that I could say every day, but clearly at least once a week. In the back, I have a fire pit, so I'll open up sacred space. I'll put a fire. And then what I put into the fire are life arrows and death arrows. And those are twigs. And in those twigs, I will blow into the twig my intention. Do I want to manifest or do I want to release? And at this time of the fall equinox, I will be looking at both sides. Where do I stand in the manifestations I set in motion in summer? And I will put life arrows in to continue the manifestation. And what have I seen that might be blocking or interrupting that flow in my life? And it's at that point that I'll put in the death arrows. So I will be really pulling out as much as I can. I'll be pulling out anything that is ready to be released and sent on its way, and honoring what needs to then be addressed. So it's all just going to take place at the fire, and that's kind of that in between. Thank you. I enjoy that very much. If you're in South Florida, feel free to connect with me, and a lot of times I open up my home for fire, so we can definitely talk about that. But it's it really is an interesting way to honor the earth, and clearly the moon. I will do similar things for the moon as well, whether she's new or full. And as you all heard me mention at the very beginning, we have a new moon around the corner as well. That new moon is again about release, right? It's about manifestation. So we're looking at putting these together so that we can really give that push at this time of year to bring us back to the light, to the manifestation, to the dream that we have for ourselves.
And so to add to that, it sounds like, because I've never participated in a ritual like that. I am just now getting into different rituals, burning sage. I've only been working for 3 years now, which, I mean, on the general scale of time, is not a super long amount of time. So, at first it was building my knowledge of the crystals. What are their properties? Right now is where I'm getting into, okay, let me really work with them. Besides actually selling them, recommending them, and cleansing them, let me really work with them. So it sounds like this ritual kind of requires you to do sort of a spiritual, not just spiritual, but an all-around assessment on the year, which, regardless of ritual or not, is extremely beneficial to you, because you need to sit down and break down, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Who is helping me? Who is not helping me? And I think, and that's another thing that I try to tell people who come in here and maybe are not super spiritual, they're not really open-minded, is that, all of this ties into things that can help you at work, at school, at home. It's not just about what you can't see and what you can't, prove. It's directing your energy in the right direction.
Absolutely. We're in this physical life with purpose, right? And so we talk about crossing the rainbow bridge because we're constantly in between the worlds when we do that, but we're always anchored in this physical realm because that's the choice we've made. At free will, we have landed right here for purpose. And so we do want to honor that. Like, what are you looking for in the way of your education, in the way of your relationships, in the way of your career, in the way of whatever, right? And so what are your dreams? And so as we come upon this new year, as we come into this fall time and go, I always think it's really hysterical that we have New Year in the dead of winter, but that's another story another time. But as we come up on the new year, we really are looking at all of us being much more conscious of a vision board, and really that manifestation energy is just all around us. It abounds. It's wonderful, right? So that energy really does fuel all of our manifestations. And many people know vision boards for, you know, physical manifestation, like they'll put a house or whatever it is they want, you know, things and physical representations. So you're correct, and I like that you said it that way. It is regarding our physical realm, but also our spiritual. And so if we're looking at physical things in our life and we're at this in-between state, we want to ask, where are we, if we're looking at physical, where are we I don't even know if I want to use that word. It's where we are attached, but I don't want everybody to get too worried about that. But what does it mean to us, right? If we're looking at at manifesting a home, you know, a particular home, what does that mean to you? Is it because it's a place of expression of self, or is it a structure that says I've succeeded and I've made it? So what is the experience that entity, that physical entity, brings to you? That becomes really critical at these times of year where we are doing ceremony to help move forward, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's in the experience that each of these physical entities brings to us that is so important. Let me read what she wrote here. I'm sensitive to changes in the air, especially the new and full moon, also retrogrades. Absolutely. Let me address that. For those of you who have comments and questions, if you want to put it in the little bubble down below on your screen, it might make it easier for Anthony and I not to miss your comments and questions, and that way we can address all of them. I'm trying to hit them as they go by, but I think that can be interrupting for everybody. So sorry for this interruption, but if you can do that, then we'll do everything we can to make sure we answer all of your questions and address all of your comments. So yes, who I missed who that was that said they're very sensitive to the energies, and those energies are, again, as we're crossing that rainbow bridge, we become very aware. You heard Anthony say earlier that he had goosebumps as he was talking about something. We're all constantly aware of the energy that is around us and how it's affecting us. Some are much more attuned to it than others. But, you know, being, you know, starting off in the world of psych, I can promise you that even unconsciously and subconsciously, people are aware of energy changes, because during full moon, we always had an influx. During retrograde, it's predictable in my world because I know how retrograde hits me. And so whether I know that Mercury went retrograde or not, I know that Mercury went retrograde, right? So we get used to those energies. Some of us are just more conscious and aware than others. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's a real important thing for everybody to be aware of.
And I want to add to that by saying that over the course of the last 3 years, I really love to gauge people's sensitivities towards these things, because I meet people that do not react at all, are hypersensitive, and everywhere in between. And it's really interesting to talk to all these different people that are on different spectrums of that. Yes. It gives you a broader picture of like how everything balances out, you know? Like I had a customer in my shop today who extremely sensitive to crystals, extremely sensitive, contacting higher deities, needed a lot of help. And I can just tell that they're very overwhelmed in the shop. And you know, I'm not overwhelmed by this sort of stuff. And it leads me to believe that maybe that's my calling, that I'm not sensitive to these type of stones and these energies, so that I can help other people be aware. But yeah, it's really interesting to hear about everybody's different sensitivities, whether it's the full moon, the Mercury in retrograde, new moon, whether it's electromagnetic frequencies.
Right. That. So someone asked, as you were talking, they said, any suggestions on how they can become more conscious of their sensitivities to energy? There are many ways that we can offer gaining a more conscious awareness of that. But let me start here. You know, there's a reason that it's blocked. And more often than not, from the time we're little and in this culture, we are taught to block our intuition, our awareness of that connects us to the energy realm, right? When we first come into this life, we have an absolute awareness of that soulful energy, as we'll call it, that came in and what it's about. And so it's bringing in that, right? So it's already there inside you. And I want you to be aware of that. We all have that awareness inside of what's going on, of our connection to our higher self and to the energy that abounds beyond. And so all of those things
to a baby's eyes.
Correct. Right. So there are ways. One is, let's move beyond the fears, so to speak. Now, that's a general term that I use. For those who follow me, they get it. But let me just quickly say it is, in general, it could be any of the fear-based emotions, hurt, sadness, fear, whatever. That's all on that side of the equation. Everything that was kind of taught to you, put upon you in this lifetime. That creates blocks to that truth of what you are, right? So the one thing that you want to do is become aware of those blocks in some way. Someone one of our listeners just said that, you can meditate. Absolutely, you can meditate. You can also, if you have tarot cards or any sort of cards, just take one card, and each night or one day take one card and learn what it means to you and see how it feels and look at the symbols on it. Take a crystal every day, hold it, see what you feel. What does it bring to you? And, one thing that Anthony does so beautifully is he teaches you what each crystal is about. So feel it, be with it, become one with it. I feel like Caddyshack. Just really hold that crystal and be with it, right? So let's see, what does Gilbert say?
Before
I see that. So when you
just add that these crystals came into my life not on purpose. This was totally just a shot in the dark that ended up working out beautifully. But one thing I can definitely say, and here come the chills again, is this being around all these stones, and you can see my hair rise.
Yes.
Being around all these stones has increased my awareness and observance of everything around me, be it nature, be it somebody's energy, be it just the way I feel in the morning. I notice little bugs, I notice birds, I notice fish, hawks, like anything around me, geckos. Like, I'm super hyper aware of everything around me. And I was never like, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but I feel like now everything kind of has a purpose, and I get more messages, I get more meanings.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Or the universe, I feel like, is kind of, I'm communicating with it in a sense. And that's what I feel the did.
So when we have Reverie Jewelry is saying thank you, that they feel as if one thing holding them back is their religion, and they've been struggling to connect their religion with their personal beliefs. And I do want to address that. And it's kind of funny because I was just speaking about that issue with someone earlier today, especially as the Jewish people are all coming upon their high holidays. Religion, it's so intriguing to me because we're born into, I love this store. So we all love this store, right? We're born into a religion and we're told this is what we're going to believe in that religion. And it's interesting if you think about that, because it's not like we're given an option. We're born into Judaism or Christianity or Muslim, but then we have all of these other spiritual beliefs, right, that are out there. And as we grow, we do start to question our own belief, but our religion creates a conflict for us because religion is built upon us following that lead. And where we follow, we have fear. And that fear, again, is an interruption. So there is something that has to be addressed there for you. And I don't know what that is. We can help you with it offline, but it's what is it feeling like for you to let go of all of the religion teachings? What happens inside? I guarantee there's a fear-based emotion in there. For some, it's going to be guilt. For some, it's going to be fear of damnation. We don't know, right? It could be anything. Everybody's different. So what is it? What is that, Anthony?
I said it depends on the religion, too.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. And the family, right? Religion can connect you back to your family as well, so it can be like just the fear of losing your family if you don't stay with your religion. There are all kinds of things that can go on in that place. So ask yourself what it is you're feeling inside. Don't hesitate to either journal it or work with it. Again, we didn't say much about meditation, but if you can meditate on what it is you're feeling, why do I feel boom, boom, boom with my religion and religious beliefs? And just see if you can move that a little bit on the inside to open you to what you believe, because your beliefs are critically important to setting you free, right? So let me bring this back to what we're talking about, because we're really talking about the fall equinox, right? And so here we are, and we're looking at those things that throw us out of balance. And thank you for the compliment. And so it's, you know, you're really looking at that. Okay, how do I balance this? Here's the challenge. Like, how do I cope with the balance between religion and my spiritual beliefs, or what we're talking about? And this is a time to look at that. The more free I live, the more I live on the in-between of all of the rules and structure. And that is a part of my experience as I master the fears and the challenges that create those blocks. And so you move to the rhythm of your life, and you move with a fluidity at that point. And so this time of year is, I just love it, because it's that time for release, right? We're moving into autumn, that time where we're going to let the leaves fall, let our branches be bare, and then kind of go into that place of hibernating and really asking. This is a time where people want to pick up books and read. They want to put on their podcasts. They want to listen to what's going on, and they want to know more about themselves, right? And you're not alone in that. Some of us, again, are conscious of that, and some of us are not. So putting these questions out, putting these thoughts out at this time, it's so wonderful to have all of you interacting, because that is exactly what this time, tomorrow in particular, is about for all of us, right?
Yep. And I see Gilbert's question. I'm actually really excited about this one, because this is something that I too have wanted insight on. That I hear intense ear ringing constantly. Why?
Oh, yes. Oh, I don't know if there are other people out there who can do that, but that is absolutely you connecting in, right? It's just connecting in. That's all I know about it. When I hear that ringing myself, I know there's a connection, so I sit quietly and listen. And more often than not, something comes to the forefront at those moments. There might be a more direct interpretation. I don't use too many direct interpretations, because I find that each of us has a different take on it, but it clearly opens me up every single time. I hear that tinging, and then I become very still. And as I become very, very still, there's always a message that presents. Interesting. That's I haven't had that question in a long, long, long time.
Yeah, and
that actually, I'm sorry. That actually is telling you that you're ready to be more sensitive to the energy around you as well, because that's opening you up. So pay attention. That's a really cool thing. Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
No worries. I don't know if it's just me too, but in those moments when I get, and it switches, but in that moment, it's like everything stops.
Yes.
Everything stops. It is the most still, silent time that happens. And even if there's noise going around, once you get that ring, it's like,
yep.
And it gets me every time. I don't know. And I've heard some speculation that, it's a contact from somebody who is trying to relay a message, but I don't know how I feel about that, because it's not always at a pivotal point. Sometimes it could just be me sitting at the shop with nobody there.
Well, it doesn't have to be a pivotal point either, but in that silence, ask yourself what happens for you. Like for me, I always get a message. Do I think it's somebody tapping in my ear to get my attention? I don't think I really give that kind of physicality to whatever is beyond, right? But in that silence that you so well described, if I sit with it, there is something that comes to the foreground inside. It's a very, very clear opportunity for me to receive a message,
This is so great, because I can't wait until my ear rings again and I have this conversation in the back of my head so I can actually stop, because usually it's, why is my ear ringing? Back to work,
Right.
But
right now.
the case gonna put a little more time into, feeling that out for sure.
Yeah. Yes. So I missed that one. I'm glad you caught it. If we've missed anybody's questions or comments, please readdress them so that we can help. Collapsing of timeliness. Oh, correct. Of timelines. Oh, there is no time. Time is absolute illusion, right? It's man-made, but on this earth, we experience a past, a present, and a future, and we experience that with purpose. The past is experienced only for our healing. There's no other purpose, right? And the future is yet to be designed, so it sets us up to for a bunch of things. That's another story, another time. But anyway, so we have time, right? But timelines are clearly collapsing for a number of reasons. As we evolve beyond this dualistic piece, time is going to change. When we collapse timelines in a way of healing, which is really happening right now, right? All of the shamanic and witchcraft healing is now blending with our Western medicine, and we're starting to really see a collapse of timelines in that way too, and in many ways in our life. We're starting to look at what do the plants and Mother Earth offer us in the way of healing, and not just looking at man-made drugs. So the collapse of timelines brings up several different things for me, Sharon, so thank you for putting that up there. It's interesting. And going into this time where you're on the in-between, what is time when you're on that in-between? If light is the same as dark, what does that mean in the way of that collapse? It's something just to ponder. We won't cover it.
It's also important to note that as a society, we have made more advancements in the last 100 years than the last 2,000. So I feel like our timeline is getting compressed because we're advancing at a fast rate.
Yes.
That I think in 10 years there's not going to be any gas motors left. In another 20 years, I don't even know what this is going to be. So it's and it also goes back to like when you're having a good time, 4 hours can pass by in the blink of an eye. But when you're sitting and doing something you don't want to do, 10 minutes feels like a lifetime. And that's just goes to prove your point. Like, I've never believed in the concept of time. I never felt like I was on any sort of timeline. I don't feel like there's a clock ticking at any point during my day. That's just the way I look at it, just to add on to that.
And it's interesting because when we look at frequency and of the energy, right? The frequency of the Earth is increasing every year. That's measured by scientists, so there's no doubt that that's increasing. As that increases, as human beings, we are also increasing in our vibration or our frequency. As that increases, we see that timeline collapsing as well. All of these pieces that we're talking about on the collapsing of a timeline are talks in and of themselves, because these aren't simple little pieces, parts, but it's absolutely a part of what we're experiencing right now. But again, I want to bring this back to the fall equinox. We want to stay really aware of where we are. The more we're working towards our dream, the more we are in that space of creation and creating that experience that we wish to have. And the more we are creating that experience we wish to have, the more that time is going to seem to collapse in terms of the way we're talking about it at the moment. It's going to get more and more and more like, holy cow, where'd the time go, right? Because you're just in that zone, as I call it, of your experience and what it is you wish to have happen. So very, very important part.
And this whole day for me, leading up to this live, has been pretty much a symbolic sort of exchange of what we're talking about. Because I had a couple of friends of mine who are also people that I get stones and stuff from. I had them come. I purchased some new items that you'll be seeing soon posted.
Good.
Yeah, and at the same time that I'm dealing with them, another man came in, and on top of him giving me all sorts of, cool insights on stones, he had his UV light with him. He was making everything glow. It was really great experience with him. So I made my purchase with them. He left. He came back and pretty much bought the same amount of stuff that I spent in the same day.
Wow.
Came full circle, and I'm like, and he left right at 5 o'clock, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is really insane. Like,
Yep.
it all came full circle today, you
Yep.
know? So it's
That
really
is
amazing.
wonderful.
It's so amazing that happened. Like,
What a great story.
I every day things happen in this shop that I couldn't explain to you.
And
And
that's,
that,
you don't need to. It's the ego that needs the explaining. The truth is that it's happening, and you embrace it, and you look at, and you're watching your symbols as they cross, whether it's an animal or synchronicity, like what happened today. You've got a lot of really neat stuff. All of that for all of you, those are the things that you're moving toward. You're moving towards really being present to the experience you're currently having, and setting your sights on times when the earth is in alignment with you, the moon is in alignment with you. Those are times that nothing more than a marker is, you know, until you really find your own groove with what it all means for you. It's a time for you to honor yourself in your dreams. And so that's what we've been talking about today, is using tomorrow's energy to reflect back on what you set in motion in summer solstice, and what you know you're going to want to release at the summer solstice, and what you want to release at the winter solstice, so that on this fall equinox you can start to really put some balance into what you're doing. The yin and yang of it all. Absolutely. Thank you for that little bit of reminder. So let's, you know, we didn't even tell everybody we were going to give the prize away at the end. So all these people have been joining us now it's so wonderful to have everybody with us. But we, Anthony, you want to talk a little bit about the prize, and then we'll talk a little bit about upcoming events, and then we'll give the prize away.
Absolutely, yeah. So we teamed up with Kristen not only to do this book signing at our shop, but also to do a little something for all of you guys. So we put together a free giveaway. We posted it last week, I believe. We had almost 80 comments, which is not bad at all, considering we couldn't promote it at all with the Instagram promotion. So it was just pure organic. So thank you to everybody, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, so grateful. It's wonderful.
And I did pick a winner. We have the winner ready to go. I have a nice light box display with their name. So at the end of this video, once we do our little announcements, I'll run over to the light box and I will display our winner and show them what they won. And that's going to be a good time.
Good. So then you start with your announcements, and while you're getting the light box, I'll do my announcements. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So, well, the light box is set up ready to go. So whenever you're done, or whenever you want me to, I'll run over and we'll do that.
Okay.
So, and I would say make your announcements, and then I'll go over and we'll end it on that.
Okay.
So I don't have too many announcements. I just want to say, for anybody local in the South Florida area, on October 2nd, we are going to be at Coco Market in Del Rey, and that is at Veterans Park on the Ave, on Atlantic Ave in Del Rey. That's 9 to 2. Free yoga session at 9, and then a whole farmer's market afterwards. It's always a blast. I never am able to make it because I have my own event that I do, but it's always a blast. So every Sunday, we are usually at Waterstone Resort, which is in Boca Raton off of East Community. We're in the lobby popping up there every Sunday. And if you are in the Fort Lauderdale area, on October 2nd, we are going to be at the Embassy Suites in Fort Lauderdale. It is called the Zen Fair. If you like crystals, psychics, healers, just general metaphysical, holistic things, you have to go. Not an option to miss it. It's an amazing event. It's run by somebody named Patricia Starr, who we love. She's totally great. And one other thing, we go live every Tuesday on Instagram Live. We're always doing cool sales, free giveaways. So if you're not already tuned in with us, definitely shoot us a follow and check in. And yeah.
Sounds great. So we have a couple announcements to make as to what's coming up in the world of Kristen Bomas. We have the book signing with Anthony coming up. I do a coffee with Kristen every Monday and Wednesday morning on my Instagram, as well as on Facebook. So if any of you would like to join me, it's at about 7:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I talk about life. So I will answer anything that I can. If you let me know ahead of time, I'll make sure that I make it my topic. I've had people ask me to do that. So I look forward to seeing all of you there as well on Monday and Wednesday mornings. Okay.
wish
Who's
I was
our winner?
I wish I was a morning person.
Well, I know I am. I love my coffee in the morning.
Oh man, I that's another goal of mine in the future, becoming a morning person. All right, so we have picked a winner for our giveaway. And the winner is, and I will post the video that shows the random selection. First, thank Kristen, of course, for joining me and having this discussion. And I want to thank everybody who stuck around and asked questions and commented and tuned in with us. We really, really appreciate it, more than you know.
I want to say congratulations to our winner. I think that is really fun. I hope you enjoy all of your gift. And Anthony, thank you. It has been an honor and a joy. It really has. I hope we can make this happen again in the future. I really enjoyed it. And thank you to all of you out there supporting us and being a part of this conversation today. It was a heck of a lot of fun. So thank you.
Oh, we'll definitely be doing this again.
Good. I love it. Fantastic. To all of you, I wish you a very wonderful evening and a very powerful fall equinox. And until next time, may all of you live the experience you wish to have, and may your dreams come true. Thank you so much.